Right now I'm using my Mac laptop, so if I say command, it means control if you are using PC. That's the only like way that I'm because I know I used to say, okay, hold command, it means hold control if you are using Windows. So as you can see here, there is a small icon with different like the X, Y, Z, which is like different axes in any 3D software. So we have 3 dimensions in 3D software. We have X-axis, Y-axis, and Z-axis for to work and like for also the 3D objects that we create. So the red color by default represent the x-axis, the green color is for y-axis, and the blue color is for z-axis. Okay, now I'm gonna talk a little bit about different interaction in the viewport. So it's really important for this class to have a 3-button mouse, which it makes the process of like working in 3D modeling much easier for you. So I'm gonna give you that demo based on a 3-button mouse interactions. So first thing, if you want to, I mean, like if I try to with mouse without doing anything, if I try to hold the left button, you see nothing is happening. So it's really important to hold the Alt key and then hold the left button, and you can see you can interact in the viewport. So if you want to zoom in or zoom out, you can scroll with the middle mouse button. And also, if you hold the Alt and middle mouse button, you can pan or tilt in the viewport. So since I'm using Mac, for Mac is Alt and Control and the left button. Now you can see I can like tilt or pan in the viewport. So I use my one more time, I use my MacBook. So in order to do the tilt and pan, I hold Command and Alt and left button. But if you use PC, you can hold Alt and middle mouse button. Let's create a really basic polygon. So here you can see from the shelf, this is like the basic polygons that you can add. Also, if you go to the create, it has the polygon primitives and you can choose them. So what I'm gonna do, I click on that cube. So if I want to do in an interactive way, let's delete it and go back to the create polygon primitive, interactive creation. So now if I click here, it says drag. So now you can see I can like change the size any way that I want. So I change to create the base, and then it says drag up to set height. So I can set any height that I want, and now I have my cube. So it's totally up to you if you want to have the interactive creation on, or if you don't want it. I mean, like over time when you get used to doing 3D modeling, it's up to you like which one is easier for you. Sometimes I make that option on, and sometimes I deactivate. It's up to you. So same thing for this one I created. As you can see right now, I have sphere added to my outliner. So as I mentioned before, everything that you created, you can see it in the outliner. So it's really important to be organized, and like first thing is to rename it the way that like later when you have a lot of objects in your scene, you don't want to make it like really complicated for yourself. So I'm gonna rename it to something different, sphere number 1, just like something different, a unique name. Okay, and now as you can see, there are options added to my attribute editor. So again, if you can't find, you can see here the attribute editor panel is activated. So if you don't see it, if you see other like information on the right side, it means you are not in the attribute editor. So just like look for the attribute editor and find it. Okay, so and everything also you can find it like from the window or like other menu too. I mean, if you close it or something happens, you can definitely have access to it again. Or you can reset your workspace, and here it says like reset current workspace. I mean, even if you are really confused and you can't find something from other menus, you accidentally close the panel. If it is something by default in some workspaces, you can reset that one, and again you will have access, because attribute editor is one of the panels that you have access to it by default. So now you can see in this attribute editor there are different panels added. Okay, now I added my sphere and I know how to do the basic interaction in the timeline. Let's talk a little bit about the transform options. So here, the transform options that I'm gonna talk about it, you can see it on the side toolbar too. So basically I'm gonna like explain the side toolbar to you. So first thing is the select tool, as you can see the short keys Q. So there are few short keys that you need to memorize them, and like later we are gonna have a quiz on them too, because it's really important and makes the process of 3D modeling or working in 3D much faster for you. So the move tool is the short keys Q, and it's really important. For example, if you're not in the move tool, and like when I'm talking about clicking on the object, delete it, or like doing something, if it is not on the move tool, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna show you later too. And here you can see, if I hover over my mouse again, you see there is a move tool. The short key is W. Also there is a rotate tool. The short key is E. And the scale tool, the short key is R. So it is really important to remember Q, W, E, and R on your keyboard. So right now I am having my select tool activated. If I click on the W, you can see it shows different axes for me. And you know the W is the move tool. So what it means, like based on different axes, I can move my object. So if I am changing a little bit the viewport, the angle to see. So you can see the red, as I talked about it, it's like the x-axis. So if I hold my left button on the mouse and move it, now I see it like based on I move it based on the x-axis. The green is the y-axis. Now you can see I can move my object based on different axes. And as I zoom in, you can see here like a small square, which is basically the area that if I select it, I can move the whole object without like having a specific axis selected, and like move it more freely where I want to do. Let's press E, which is gonna be the rotation, and you're gonna like practice do it based on different axes. And so again, the blue part is like doing for all of my axes, and R is gonna be the scale tool, and the yellow cube on the center is gonna change the scale based on all axes. It's gonna keep it like the same proportion for everything, but if I don't want to keep the same proportion, I'm gonna target a specific axis that I want. For example, now the red part is gonna be the X, and I'm targeting just X. What is also really important to do, like the shortcut for undo, is Command or Control Z. So now I do the Control Z, keep it like the original, and now if I hold it like the middle cube and move my mouse, you can see like I'm changing the scale but keeping the same proportion. Also, there is another one which is like the T, which is like the manipulator tool, that you can change like the different, I mean, based on different shape you get like different options for the manipulator. There is a really important option like subdivision, which is like you can see it in any object, that details of the here you can see details of the different faces, that which I'm gonna like talk about it more. You can see like I'm adding more subdivision. So it's really important to know more subdivision. It means like more details in your model, but also makes your model more complex. You need to pay attention to the details more to do your 3D modeling, and also more subdivision means like the heavier on the software too. So later when we talk about smooth, if we smooth something, it means like we add a lot of details or subdivision to the shape, to the model, but at the same time it's gonna be much slower for the whole software.